Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am bringing a video for you all about why your skin is not clearing, even if you're doing all the protocols or you're following some kind of cleanse or something and you're still not seeing results. Why is that happening? I have a lot of DMs about this specific question, and yesterday I posted on Instagram asking what video you guys want to see today, and that was a very common one. So I'm going to dive in. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, I am a homeopath and holistic nutritionist, and I specialize in autoimmune disease. And then I go even more niche than that, in particular skin conditions like psoriasis, for example, and eczema. I work with clients who have all types of health conditions, but that's where I specialize and that's what my focus is. I suffered with psoriasis and eczema for many, many years, and it was full body coverage, very severe. And I got through it through natural, remedies and treatments, and I now help clients do the same. I mainly use, I use a combination, actually, not mainly. I use a combination of homeopathics, drainage remedies, nutritional supplements, herbs, and that kind of stuff in my practice. So why is your skin not clearing even though you're doing a lot of things? I'm going to start with the number one most common mistake that I see people do in their protocols, regardless if you're working with me, somebody else, or on your own. The number one mistake that I see all the time is you are still eating too much starch. So here's the deal with starch. When you have skin conditions, you most likely have some degree of dysbiosis or imbalance in your gut flora. And the reason is because when the gut is inflamed from said pathogens, it directly inflames the rest of the body and creates histamine, and that is displayed in the skin. And a lot of times, like when I work with clients, I will have them do like some kind of pathogen or Candida or parasite type cleanse, and that always entails cutting out starch. Now, not completely, and it's not that you can never have starch again, but you do need to cut it out. But the mistake that I see a lot of my clients do is they still are consuming too much starch. They still don't realize how much they consume overall in a day. That is still feeding the pathogens, which means that even if you're on a Candida cleanse or doing some type of cleanse or diet, if you're still having too much starch, you're still feeding the pathogens, so you're still not going to get that full relief that you're looking for. So what does that look like? Everyone is different. Everybody has a different requirement. None of my protocols are the exact same from person to person, so it really depends. But a very standard way that I like to go about cleanses with my clients, especially in regards to pathogens, is 2 servings of starch per day max. The first is some kind of low GI fruit like blackberries or grapefruit. That's, your starch for fruit. No bananas, no watermelon, nothing like that. And then number 2, or serving number 2 of starch that I suggest is something like buckwheat. You can do buckwheat groats, you could do a buckwheat flake, or something like some lentils or a squash, but like really you don't exceed that. So what I see people do is they'll still sneak in some rice and they'll say it's just once a week, or they'll sneak in a sweet potato, it's just once a week. It doesn't matter. You cannot have starches if you have pathogens and if that is the source of your skin condition or flare up. So number 1, like cut back on the starches, really trim the starch that you're having to very low starch. Again, this is different for everyone. If you're diabetic or if you need the starch, it's going to look different for you. But that's the first thing. The second thing are nightshades. This is something that I know you guys know. Nightshades are not great for the skin, but a lot of times people don't realize that even in a spice blend, there are things like paprika or cayenne that could be flaring the skin. So really read labels. Don't do nightshades, say like once a week, because that can still keep you inflamed. Till this day, and I've done years and years and years of cleansing and gut work and everything you can imagine, I still am sensitive to nightshades, and it's coming from lectins. And anyone who has an inflammatory, like an immune condition or an auto-inflammatory condition like eczema, nightshades for the rest of your life are something you're going to have to limit. It's just the hard truth. It's not that you can't have them, but they need to be limited. But when you are in a flare and you have visible rashes, you can't have any at all, period. So potato, peppers, tomato, eggplant, goji berries. These are nightshades that do need to be avoided. Okay, number 3 is stress. I get this one all the time too. My clients tell me, or followers will tell me, I'm not stressed. Like, I don't have any stress in my life. But you're probably stressed about your skin. If your skin is flared up, and you're probably stressed around that and have anxiety around that. And I feel like for everyone, there's always a degree of stress, even if you don't physically feel it. There's always some sort of either financial stress or relationship stress or, health stress. There's usually some amount of stress that can be driving a flare-up. Stress directly leads to tissue destruction. There's a chemical mechanism that happens, or like a kind of like a routine that happens every time your stress levels go up that directly impacts your Th2 immune cells, which directly impacts tissue destruction. Stress is something that needs to be handled. And I know a lot of people who might feel more calm and chill normally can handle higher levels of stress because it really doesn't affect them the same way it might affect someone else, but you're still experiencing that stress. So still doing anti-stress techniques and taking adaptogens is a must for, working on clearing the skin. So those are just some things. There's a lot more, but number 4, you're having food sensitivities in your diet. Now, even if you're eating a paleo, gluten-free, high vegetable, high protein, low starch diet, which is awesome, you could still be sensitive to lettuce. You could be sensitive to chicken. You could be sensitive to almonds or coconut or whatever else is in your diet, even if it's a healthy food. And if you are sensitive to these foods, you will get that antibody reaction, which elevates gut inflammation, which elevates the inflammation in the skin. So if you are eating low starch and really organic and alkaline, and you're managing your stress, and you're avoiding nightshades, and you're still flaring, get a food sensitivity panel done and figure out what it is in your diet that is causing the flare up. Okay, number 5, there is things in your environment that are irritating it. So if you're using a shampoo or a conditioner that is not 100% pure and non-toxic, or if you're using some kind of detergent on your clothes that's directly touching your skin, or if you are breathing in some kind of fragrance or scents or something that's in your home, or if there is mold in your home, if you have a car freshener in your car, things like that. These are all, if you wear cologne or perfume, makeup that's not non-toxic, these are all things that can cause skin irritation and inflammation. So that's another thing to potentially cut out, is anything toxic or inflammatory in your home. Okay, there's a few more tips. So the next one is you are not doing a strong enough Candida or pathogen cleanse. When I say Candida, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have Candida yeast in your body to do this. For me, Candida is more of an umbrella term because everybody's familiar with it. So it's more of an umbrella term for dysbiosis. It doesn't matter if you have mold overgrowth, yeast overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth, viral overgrowth, or parasitic overgrowth. When I say Candida cleanse, it's kind of like an umbrella term. So if you have skin conditions, you most likely need to be on strong antifungals. Natural ones work well to push back the dysbiosis, which pushes back the inflammation, which then lets the skin calm down. So if you're on a protocol and you're still flaring, you're probably not on strong enough antifungals if you've addressed all the previous steps in this video. So then up your antifungals. Things like olive leaf and black walnut and certain homeopathics work so well, but you might be doing a smaller dose and you might need to increase that dose. So that is a potential. If you're working with a practitioner, talk to them about potentially increasing the dose. If you're doing this on your own, just follow the bottle dosage, as you don't want to exceed bottle dosage unless you're working with someone, but at least have that a thought in your mind that my antifungals might not be strong enough for me. Now, a next thing, kind of partnering this tip, is biofilm disruptors. I made so many videos about biofilms, and I have so much information on biofilms, including what disruptors you need for the types of pathogens you might have. That is all over on holisticspring.org. I'll link it down below. Holisticspring.org has so much info on biofilms if you want to learn more. But if you do have biofilms, if you're not sure what they are, again, head to holisticspring.org. But if you do have biofilms, you are going to have recurring flare-ups over the rest of your life if they're not addressed. So what that looks like for you is you might clear your skin and feel great, and then a couple weeks or months later, you might get a flare up again. and then you clear the skin by eating clean, by getting on a protocol, and then a few months later you flare up again. That is from biofilms. That is coming from the fact that you did not disrupt or destroy the biofilms enough. So the colonies are destroyed, but then they can overgrow again very quickly if there's stress or starch in the diet. So not just upping your antifungals, make sure you're doing biofilm disruptors for a long enough time so that you don't get those recurring pathogen flare-ups. Last but not least, okay, you need to do immune modulation. If you are completely dysregulated within your immune system, if your immune system is exhausted and you have too much cortisol and adrenal fatigue and hormonal imbalances and everything else that comes with it, sorry, the kids are yelling, you're going to need to do more immune modulation. Depending which way you're tipped, if you're Th2 dominant or Th1 dominant or Th17 dominant, you need to modulate it so that you're not dominant in one type. You need to have a balance. Working with a practitioner can help you do this properly and safely, as you don't want to tip yourself one way or the other. A lot of times I see people who are Th2 dominant do a lot of Th1 supporting things for too long, and then they end up becoming Th1 dominant, which means they can't kill infections, and then they're overrun with infections. So you have to be careful, find a good balance, but being aware that you might need to do more in modulation is important. Now, this last and final one that I want to share with you is not necessarily something that you're doing wrong. It might just be something you're not doing at all, and that is drainage therapy. This is something that not a lot of people truly know about because it's not talked about. Drainage therapy is using different types of gentle remedies like homeopathics that can drain the system, particularly your emunctories, like your elimination pathways, the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, the colon, the mucous membranes. Draining those of toxins so that they can drain everything out of the body rather than you retaining toxins, which leads to inflammation and acidity. So consider homeopathic drainage therapy. I do this with my clients. There's a lot of practitioners who do this, but it's not talked about a lot. Usually people just suggest taking herbs to support your liver, but it goes much deeper than that. And a lot of times herbs are not the right choice for some people or for most people. The other thing that I actually forgot to mention, and I should have mentioned this in the beginning because this is a tip as well, so this I promise you will be the last tip, is you are not alkaline enough. You could be eating low starch, you could be managing your stress, you could be eating nothing you're sensitive to, doing all those things that we just mentioned. You could be on antifungals and on drainage therapy and still be flaring and not know why. And if you are not eating enough alkaline foods, you are going to be really acidic, and your body's going to have a hard time alkalizing, which means you'll have inflammation in the skin. So don't just eat tons of chicken and proteins and then, more acidic types of foods like nuts. You also need to be having plenty of organic, dark, leafy green vegetables like Swiss chard or kale or spinach or dandelion greens, and then also cucumbers and zucchinis and all sorts of alkaline, fresh vegetables. You have to have those in your diet. You have to, or you cannot alkalize, and nothing happens in the system if you are acidic. The more acidic you are, the more you retain toxins, the more inflamed you are, and your body is a perfect environment for pathogens to thrive, so they also will not be killed off. You have to bring up your pH, and drinking liquid chlorophyll or chlorella will not do that enough for you. Yes, it helps, and they should be taken, but you have to be getting the main source through vegetables every single day in your diet. You will be so amazed, actually mind blown, at how good your skin looks if you are having greens every day. And again, not in powder form, the whole form. You get so many B vitamins, which helps tissue regeneration. It helps your immune system and your adrenals. It helps lower inflammation overall. So you're getting all of that, plus so many antioxidants, nutrition, and alkaline properties when you're eating vegetables. So do not skip that. If you are doing everything and you are still not clearing your skin, you need to alkalize more. So add those alkaline nutrients into your diet. So that is all for today. I hope that these tips helped. And if you are not doing any of these or some of these, maybe you could add some in and see what that does for your skin. Whether you have eczema or psoriasis or acne or any other skin condition, you'll be surprised at how much improvement you can get with little changes in your diet. You have to be drinking plenty of water as well to flush everything out, and support your kidneys to get more acid out. But again, you'll be amazed at what you'll feel and what you'll look like if you just do these tips. Starch is hidden in everything and it's a killer, so cut that out. Not forever, but at least if you have a flare-up, and alkalize your body and reduce your stress, do all the things, you'll be amazed at what happens. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.